Welcome to Whatcha Makin, a podcast about sharing ideas, discussing the business of making, and connecting with the maker community. Your hosts are Alex Adams, an engineer turned furniture maker of Type A Furniture, and an alien pretending to be a DIY craftsman, Alex Duffey of Duffey Woodcraft. This is Whatcha Makin.
Hello and welcome to Whatcha Makin, a podcast where we talk all about what's on our bench, spotlight makers throughout the community, and remind you that egg watch season has officially started. Jackie and Shadow, the bald egos, now have 2 eggs in their nest, possibly a third as of tonight. Fingers crossed we get more hatchlings this year. Tonight's main topic is shop projects with a special guest, but more about them in just a moment. I'm Alex Duffey. You can find me on Instagram and on YouTube at Duffey Woodcraft.
And I am Alex Adams. You can find me at Type A Furniture on Instagram. And I could have swore when I was thinking when you first said egg watch that it related to Baywatch. Do we get to see the eggs like in slow motion at all? Or is it just really grainy video feed?
It's pretty grainy video feed. Yeah, it's a webcam on the top of a pole in the middle of nowhere.
Gotcha. Yeah, if my other thought was, wait, is this some kind of like early Easter type tradition that they have on the West Coast that I am not aware of?
No, it was just last year was the first year the 2 eagles had hatchlings that made it all the way through fledging where they fly off on their own. So it was the first year in like, I think 4 or 5 years that it happened. So they're back at it again this year and have more eggs already. So,
well, that's wonderful. And what is also wonderful is our patrons, and they have gone on to patreon.com/whatchamakinshow in order to support the show for as little as $5. So if you would like to help us keep the lights on so we can keep on pumping out more of these awesome episodes, that's where you'll head in order to make that happen.
Who are you?
Well, our special guest tonight is Thomas from Thomas Custom Woodworks. Thomas started woodworking in June of 2020 and creating low-cost furniture out of construction lumber. That quickly grew. In 2023, he became a full-time woodworker and creator. You can find him with almost over 750,000 followers between Instagram and YouTube. Thomas is a prominent voice in our industry with tons of knowledge and some exciting news to share during this episode. Welcome to the show, Thomas.
Hello. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. So I gave you a brief overview, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Thomas. I am a woodworker, father, husband, and I'm not quite full-time. About 20% of my income these days. I've been a personal trainer for just over 12 years. And so I still do some personal training, but about 80% of my business is woodworking related. But yeah, I started woodworking in 2020. I was sort of doing everything. We had just bought a house, and me and my wife, in 2019. And so I was, I built some shop projects, but then I was building some things for my house, coffee tables, TV console tables, nightstands, things like that. And it was just a lot of fun. But then I've sort of niched down to more workshop furniture. When I started building things, people started asking for plans. I'll get into that more with what I'm working on. But I've sort of got my niche on YouTube and in my business, and sort of what I focus on and enjoy doing these days is more workshop furniture or workshop content. I still have the projects that I make for friends, family, myself, the house, but it's a lot of workshop furniture these days. But yeah, content creator, woodworker, and a lot of workshop furniture.
Awesome. Well, what got you started in woodworking to begin with?
Well, I was actually, I feel like it's cliche at the moment, but I was actually a full-time PE teacher for a junior high or actually during COVID, I was an elementary PE teacher, and then I eventually went and taught junior high. But COVID hit, and sort of the school shut down. I was still working as a teacher, but there was less, like we were doing a little less. And we had just bought a house. And then so I had more time on my hands, and I was sort of thinking of what I could do at the time. And then summer hit, and then there was no teaching. I was still doing some personal training, but then it was summer, so I was not teaching, and I was just doing a little personal training. And we had just bought a house that had a third car bay in our garage. So it's like a 3-car garage, but it's like 2 cars deep on one side. So there's this little 1-car bay that we were like, what should we do with that area in our garage? And I was like really thinking about it'd be fun to make stuff out of wood. And so I started making stuff. I'd never really made anything. And I started making stuff for our house, like some furniture. And then I slowly turned that 1-car garage bay, it's 198 square feet, not 200, into my wood shop. And so that has slowly become my wood shop. And that's sort of how I got started in woodworking, building stuff for my house, and then just building, normal stuff, people get into cutting boards, coasters, furniture. And then it was kind of interesting. I was making stuff for my shop and I would make the shop furniture, and people would ask on Instagram. I started Instagram and a YouTube channel at that time, but on Instagram, I would post shop furniture stuff, and then people would ask, like, do you have plans for that piece of shop furniture? And I would say no. And then I would give them other people. I'd be like, these people sell plans. And then, but then like after a few months, people kept asking, like, do you have plans? And then after, it took me a few months because sometimes I can be a little slow. And I was like, maybe I should make plans, because people ask for plans. And so that's sort of how it started. And so I was thinking, like, if I could give people unsolicited advice, which people gave me, and I didn't really know what it meant, but it was like, listen to your audience, because that's sort of how I've tried to listen to my audience throughout the years for my woodworking business. But that's sort of how the plan started, is people were just asking, do you have plans? And so I thought I should make some plans. And so I started making plans for workshop furniture. And now plans are about, in terms of my woodworking business, plans are about 70% of my income. And then the other 30% is like YouTube, AdSense, brands, a little bit on Amazon affiliates, a little bit on Facebook, but the plans are the majority. And I enjoy making the plans because my space is so small that I have to make furniture that saves space because I don't have a lot of space. Mm-hmm. And so that's been fun. And I think people, I hope they appreciate it. It seems like they appreciate it, because I think a lot of people are in garages. And so without a ton, like unlimited space, we can't all be Drew Witt with I can't remember how much, it's like 2,000 square foot shop. He just built a new shop. That was really nice.
I think he's up to over 4,000 now.
Oh, really? I mean, I'm jealous. And then there's other people that have shops, new shop, Travis from Shop Nation built a shop, but I know a lot of people have just garages like myself. And mm-hmm. So it's really kind of fun for me to make shop furniture, that saves some space. It folds, it flips around, it's mobile, it has foldable wings, things like that, and to share that with other people. So mm-hmm. That's sort of how I got started back in 2020, and then it's continued, and it's become more of my business these days.
Nice.
What you doing?
All right. Well, this week in my shop, I am wrapping up all the things for Sasquatch Fest, which is this coming weekend for me. So I got all my little Sasquatch figurines and signs and everything all wrapped up and packaged up, ready to go. So that's been at my shop, and I've been cleaning it up a little bit, getting it ready for some projects, which is basically the next things I'll be working on, which I have a batch of about 8 YouTube videos that I'm going to be filming here in the next couple of months. And so I got the shop basically cleaned up after production run and ready to start filming all those. So that's in the shop projects. And then here in the office, I have the 3D printer has been going.
Look at you go.
I know, I'm all excited. So from the recommendation of a friend, for my markets, shout out to Paul over at Bees Boards. They give away, because their brand is a bee, because his partner's name is Bee, and it's Bees Boards. So he gives away free bees, which are little 3D printed bees.
That's cool.
So I'm doing something similar, and I'm printing a whole bunch of these little alien green guys that will go into. They're basically little free gifts that will go into every package just to make people smile.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I've been doing those. I've got some green ones, and I've been printing some gray ones currently too. Little grays. So I did that, and then I designed my first. Actually, I printed. I don't have them. I designed 4 hitch covers: a UFO, an alien, a Sasquatch, and the Seahawks hitch covers for my truck. And so I actually uploaded those on the Maker World. So I have my own little Maker Space thing now.
Nice.
And then this last 2 weeks,
does it have the Sasquatch, like its head is the Seahawk as it's getting pulled into a UFO?
No, that might be my next one though. No, those were all separate.
Fun.
There were 4 separate ones. But my the last 2 weeks, I have been listening to a book series called Dungeon Crawler Carl. If you have not heard of this series, please go check it out. I'm not going to try and describe it other than that it is science fiction fantasy, but it's a part of a genre called lit RPG, which basically is like video game dynamics in a book. But it's really funny. It's like Deadpool humor. So with everything going on in the world right now, it's been a really nice break. And so I printed this sign that if you're watching online, you can see. It says, "God damn it, donut." The main character, Carl, is, trapped in this dungeon, only wearing underwear, and his cat, Donut. And so his catchphrase is, "God damn it, donut." But then under his breath, he always says, "You will not break me," which is what's on the back of this too. So my wife and I are actually thinking of going to Emerald City Comic-Con up in Seattle in March. And the author is going to be there. And if so, I'm going to take this and have him sign it with a Sharpie. So,
you should bring a black cat with you.
What'd you say, Alex?
Bring a black cat with you.
No,
just randomly turn out, "God damn it, donut."
The cat is white. So,
what?
But in this case, it's black because it's all shadow. And then the white tiara because she's Princess Donut. In the book, at least.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, so that's been my shop. What about you, Thomas? What have you been working on?
No, that's cool. I like it. It sounds like you really are liking your Bambu a lot better. Yeah, very much so.
It's a lot more fun when you're printing as opposed to fixing the printer.
Exactly. It just works. And that's all I ever wanted of a printer, because to me, it's just like a household paper printer. It should just work. It's not something I want to have to fix constantly.
That's one of
until
the
it yells
reasons
low
why
at cyan.
Oh yeah, it's always out. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I got the X Tool laser. Is because you could get other brands, but like this one, it like just works. I don't want to tinker. It's like plug and play. I'm super happy with it. That's what it sounds like, the Bambu. If I ever get into 3D printing, I'm like, I'll just get one of those. But okay, so what I've been working on, it's not as quite as exciting as Sasquatch and aliens, but
nothing is.
I've been making a course, a digital course. That's what most of my time it's been about 5 months since I started it. So I've been making a digital course on how to use the 7 most common power tools in woodworking. It's taken me so long. I'm almost done with it. It'll be released in mid-February 2026. it's taken me so long because it probably could have taken me 2 or 3 months, but I've kept my YouTube channel going. I've kept releasing new plans, Instagram content. I've made other things for like my house. And so if I would have stopped everything and just focused on the course, it probably would have got done faster. But I kept sort of the rest of the business going. But yeah, so I've been working a lot on the course. I have this thing where I don't know if you guys can relate, but it's like when I do something, especially in woodworking, but when I do something, I have to do it as good as I can. Like,
yeah, because if you're not perfect, you're terrible, right?
Yeah.
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 You're
We're all
worthless.
perfectionists.
Exactly. But it's not even like I need it to be perfect. It just has to be as good as I can do it. And so, for example, like I'll be working on a plan and I'll be like, oh, this is good enough. I don't have to tell them all. Like, I don't have to like explain everything. And then I'll be like, no, Thomas, you have to make it as good as you can. So I'll like literally in my plans that I sell, I'll put like where to put each screw. Like I'll put like a lot of detail in case like a totally new beginner is bought one of my plans and doesn't know like, doesn't know that you can't put a screw like, you know, 1/8 of an inch next to the edge, you know, who knows? But so I'll nitpick and make it really detailed. And that's what happened with this course is I originally was going to just have, okay, how to use the 7 tools. People will buy it and I'll give them a PDF and there'll be 7 links to 7 videos on the PDF, 1 video per tool. And it'll just be like a 20-minute video on how to use the tool. And so the tools I'm doing are the miter saw, circular saw, drill and impact driver. I kind of put those together. Jigsaw, router, random orbital sander, and table saw. So originally it was just going to be 7 videos. And then I started thinking, I was like, you know, I was doing the outline and I was like, I don't think 1 video per tool is enough because I think more needs to go into it. So I ended up thinking, okay, I'll make 4 videos per tool. It'll be like introduction to what the tool, what the tool is, the parts of the tool, and what you can use it for. That'll be video 1. Video 2 is how to set it up and calibrate it. Video 3, how to use it for anything you want to use it. Video 4 will be safety and mistakes to avoid. So every tool gets those 4 lessons, video lessons. So okay, 4 videos. And then I started doing more research and I was like, I really should put it on one of these used like software that people use for courses. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you buy a course and it's like, it's on the website and then there's software. So like the website, it is like, you just click the module and then you click the lesson. It's not like separate YouTube videos or separate unlisted YouTube videos. It's like,
right.
It's like for a course. Like you go to your you log in and then you have the course there and you click on each video and there's stuff. and then I was like, I really should have them make 2 projects so they can practice the tools. So it's not just like, oh, you get the information and then great, I have all this information, but I don't know how to use it. So I make 2 projects. I teach how to make 2 projects in the course, a push stick, and then what I call the Tool Organizer Pro. It's like a wall hanging cabinet with some drawers to hold some tools and accessories and hardware. So what started as a 1-page PDF with 7 links to unlisted YouTube videos is now a full course with modules and lessons and projects and resources. So that's been taking up most of my time, but I'm really excited about it and really proud of it. If anybody wanted to check it out, it's at thomaswoodworkingacademy.com. And I'm guessing you'll put that in the show notes, but it'll be launched in February so next month, mid-February, and enrollment will only be open for 10 days. So I have a wait list going right now, but I'm really excited about it. I think it should help a lot of people. The one thing, again, going back to listening to your audience, is that's what sort of gave me the idea is I would have a lot of people, email me sort of before they bought the plans, or if they bought the plans, asking like, hey, are these plans beginner friendly? Because I don't have a lot of experience with power tools.
Mm-hmm.
Or they would say, oh, I only have these power tools. Or in some way they would get across to me whether they would email me, or I'd get comments on YouTube videos, or people would tell me that they don't have a ton of experience with power tools. And so I thought, oh, that might be really cool. My audience seems to, the people that buy my plans or potentially buy my plans, seems to not have a ton of, some of them don't have a ton of experience with power tools. So, sorry. That's what got me into making this course. And I think it's going to be really cool. So that's what I've been working on recently.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah,
Awesome.
I mean, the overlap of people who want plans and those that are new to woodworking, I mean, there's generally a pretty big overlap there because they're looking for instruction on how to build that stuff. So that makes sense that would naturally fit in that overlap. Because, like, yeah, calibrating your tools is such a big thing that can make a huge difference, where it's like, if you don't even know how to calibrate your tool or some of the things you can do to check it, like, you just live with, slightly off of 90-degree cuts, and you always wonder why, like, your miters don't line up or stuff is slightly off. Because, like, even on my Capex that I have, Winnie, who we had on last week, I think she might have had like a reel where she was like, oh yeah, this spot over here, you just punch through this sticker with like an Allen key, and that's how you actually adjust the, like, the laser on there. And I was like, I never knew how to adjust the laser. I thought that was just like a sticker with like general instructions. So it's calibrating is a huge thing that'll save you so much time.
Well, that's why I made it
a
whole lesson for every tool, is because even when you get a brand new tool, like I spent, it's before tax, I bought the Bosch, it's the 12-inch sliding miter saw,
the Glide or whatever.
GCM 12 SD, I think is the model number. But it's, it's not calibrated. It's like, even the expensive tools, I spent, $650, and it's not 90 degrees. But that's normal. It's not like nothing's wrong with I love the saw, but even these new tools, table saw fences, miter saw fences, like, you got to check and make sure they're square. And oftentimes, even if it's brand new, it's not perfectly square. So that's why I made it a whole lesson, because I was like, setting it up to make all the cuts you need, but also to calibrate it. Even if you get a new saw, like especially the miter saw, it's like, you want to make sure that it's 90 degrees before you're using it, so you're not frustrated when it's not, a perfect right angle.
Yeah, or when you have gaps in your miters or whatever, and you're just like, well, I cut it at 45. It says 45. It's like, well, sometimes you gotta verify.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, so it's been fun. It's been a lot of work, but it's been fun. The nice thing too is I created a whole website for the course. The websites these days, they're plug and play. I mean,
because it's a standalone website. It's different from your other website, or is it mixed?
The website I have for my plans is through Shopify, and they don't, Shopify, to my understanding, they're not like for courses. I mean, it's more products you sell. I don't know if they have the software to like house a course. And so I'm using Kajabi because they sort of specialize in courses. And so I made a separate website because my course and I made a new website for that course on Kajabi also. So my plans are on thomascustomwoodworks.com. My course is on thomaswoodworkingacademy.com. And I'm fine with having a separate website, because I think I'm going to put, if I come out with another course or other course-like products, it's on a separate website so that it could be on a platform that's more specializes in courses.
Nice. Yeah, it makes sense to have something that's dedicated to that, because if you try and make one thing do all of it, then it just does all of it not very good.
Yeah, maybe the Shopify would have worked, but I would guess if you did, you'd have to have all these plugins and all these things and all these widgets, and I would imagine it might not be as seamless. Even if it can, I don't even know if it can. So I just went with Kajabi because They have a lot of really good resources on how to set it up and do things. And making the website was so nice because it's just plug and play. You just add add photos, you add the copy, you like whatever you want to write, and it's got all the templates already set for you. I'm just glad that I'm making a website now and not, 20 years ago when it was, I would have to hire someone to code or something because I don't really know how to do any of that. But
Probably had a MySpace page at that time, right? Probably knew a little HTML.
Was big when I was in high school.
Hey, we all learned how to code because of MySpace. We all learned how to do our HTML coloring.
I had a friend, even then, code it for me to get that. I had to get the Mustang logo on the background of my MySpace to be cool. Did I have a Mustang?
Yeah.
No, I did not. But
yeah, we all posted pictures of cars that we wanted to have. I think I might have had a picture of on my Facebook. I can't remember if it was like the cover photo, if they even had it then. But it was like, I think it was like a Lamborghini with like flames around it or something, like a black Lamborghini. I'm like, oh my gosh, it was so terrible. It was so cringe. It was like the posters that you got from the Scholastic Book Fair, the classic like Lamborghinis. But
so you guys got to go another level. I had spaceships on mine. Like, come on. Cars.
You owned a spaceship, correct?
Well, clearly.
Exactly. How else are you going to meet the aliens?
Right.
Obviously.
That's good.
All right. Well, what I've been working on this past week, so I finished out the order with all the serving trays and the barbecue sets. So with the serving trays, I think where I left off on those was I had everything was lasered. I had added the holes, but I had still needed to go back through and do any like final touch-up sanding because like usually you need like just a little touch up after you laser it because of any little burning around the edges. And then if you drop something or if you miss something on, like, for me, it was like double checking the live edges, the faux live edges that I had kind of carved in there to make sure that I had gone through all of the grits and sanded it down so that it was smooth. Because sometimes like when you're going through, 20 plus items, like even though you check everything, like sometimes something gets through the cracks, so you just gotta check as many times as you can and try and get all of those consistent. And then I did a finishing on my bench. So usually what I do when I'm finishing like stuff like that, where it's just like mineral oil, because I've still been using mineral oil, but I want to switch over to the tung oil and citrus solvent combo. But I bought like this huge, like, I don't know how many gallon jug of like walrus oil so long ago. And I was like, I'm just going to use all of this up. And then when it's done, I'll switch over. Surprisingly, it was like the oil. Oh, what was the Bible story? What was like the never ending, like oil pitcher or whatever that like kept on going. Like it lasted, 7 days or whatever. It was like the same thing with this, where I was like just surprised that I still had mineral oil in there. The nice thing was it had a disperses with a pump, so it's a lot easier to just pump onto the board, spread it around. I just put on some nitrile gloves and just kind of spread it around with my hands and worked it that way. And I did that above a little plastic tub. And then I set them all out on the bench, and I just put some of the blue shop towels underneath to like catch any drips. Not because I care about my bench, but more so I just want it to like not have like an oily surface because it doesn't like actually cure. So it catches that stuff. And then I have some like just some wood runners that I put on there to keep it off of there so it just doesn't absorb all of the oil onto the shop towels. So I did that in batches of 10. So what I did was I got all of those like oiled up, I put them out, and by the time I had finished the last one, it was time to essentially wipe off the excess on the first ones, and then I wipe off the excess, and then I would screw in the handles and then move on to the next two and go through until I got done, because then by the time I got to the last set of handles, it was time for them to be wiped down. So I try and do that so I don't have time where I'm just sitting waiting for something. Like I time it out so that I'm consistently doing something so I can keep on moving.
And that's for the real estate agent you work with
No,
Is
so
it
this
these
one is
serving
for,
boards?
so this is for someone, so they're actually a jeweler, but they do like corporate gifts for like seasonal
I see.
parties. They're like
Okay.
end of year parties. So this is
Oh,
part
cool.
of their um corporate gift package. So like they do other stuff that they source from other places that they've done for years. But sometimes they get like new requests for other things where they're like, yeah, we want to change to something else that's, maybe a little bit nicer or different, just because people's what they want for like a gift for their like, because I think they do like different milestones where it's like 5, 10, 15, 20 years, like they give out a gift. So it's like they've kind of gone away from like watches and other things to more gifts that you actually well, I guess you do use watches, but like things that you would use more normally, like around the house, to try and actually make it so it's something that people receiving it want, which was why they had added the barbecue handles that I had also been working on, because those were new last year, and this was the second time that I was doing these. So those ones I had gotten, I think they were in the same scenario where I think where I left off, I think they had been lasered, which they just engrave their logo on the side because the jeweler has a laser engraver. And then I
Nice.
added the hardware on it because it's just holes on each side, and then you just screw in with the hardware. Because the annoying thing with these is that I wish they made the threads like something like different, because the tolerancing on this is so close that either it's like completely open and you get nothing, or it's like really hard to screw in. So what I did for these was, because there was like the flat surface for like the spatula or the tongs or whatever, like I'd hold the actual handle in one hand, and then I'd try and get because I actually chamfer the hole that they go into, so it's a little bit easier to start. So I kind of get it started, because you kind of got to push in and then twist to get it to like start catching and get its screw threads to catch. And then after that, I clamp a little like 6 or 12-inch quick release clamp, and then use that as my like long lever to just rotate around. So I hold it in one hand, then I've got this huge like lever that I'm spinning around, because with like that much torque at like a foot away from there, it just spins so much easier and was so much easier on my forearms. But it definitely
Nice.
made my forearms burn after a while, because you're just like constantly like pushing stuff in there and twisting it. And the crappy thing about these is like getting like the laser engraving to like line up just right, but getting the little like cap thing to be on there hard enough that it doesn't slip away. But I surmise that like I can get it close enough, and then I put a little bit of Gorilla Glue on the cap, because there's a shoulder there for the cap to slide on, so it doesn't like jingle around. So I just put a little bit of Gorilla Glue on there, and since that is their like original formula is like the foam expanding stuff,
Hmm.
it expands and fills that space and essentially locks it in. But I just have to keep an eye out for that spewing out of the edge of the hardware, so I gotta like wipe it up, because you get that weird kind of like bubbly foam texture off of it that looks kind of funky if it's
Yeah.
actually
I think I have
visible.
some here. It's like the original, like yeah, it kind of
Yep.
foams.
Yep.
It's kind of like lighter. I've used it before. When the first time I used it, I didn't know it foamed, and I was like, what is happening?
Yeah,
It wasn't a big deal, but
yeah, I actually apply it with a toothpick, because it's such a smooth and small area that if you put too much, like I said, it starts like oozing out. So if you just do just enough to coat it with the toothpick, and so what I do is I kind of like roll the toothpick so that you don't get just like the glob that's on the bottom end of the toothpick. So it kind of like evenly coats it. And then I go back over with the toothpick, and then I kind of spread it a little bit more. Cause I just don't want any globs getting on the finished surface, cause then you have to resand that down. And then those ones
nice.
were super easy to throw the finish on once the glue had dried. It was just mineral oil that I had put on those. And like I said, someday I'll move over to tung oil, but until my little pump vat thing runs out, I'll keep on using it until it's all gone. And
Because
then
100% tung oil is supposed to be really good for cutting boards, right? But it's got to be 100% tung oil.
you can, so some people will do the like mixture of like citrus solvent to help thin it
That's
out
what
so
I do.
it penetrates more.
Gotcha.
So you do have to do more, like it's better to do more coats with that because it's thinned out, but it's supposed to penetrate deeper as a result,
Nice.
which is why you need an additional coat since it's not just the surface level. So like you can still do straight tung oil, it's just adding the citrus solvent makes it hopefully penetrate deeper so that if you get like, you know, a little ding or whatever, it's not just like the shiny like new wood underneath. It's
That makes sense.
got a little bit of that finish on there, because I think a lot of people will use like 100% tung oil on like outdoor projects as well, like if they're you know, doing their Adirondack chairs or whatever.
Yeah, tung oil actually hardens where like mineral oil doesn't. But tung oil will actually
because it
create a
doesn't.
barrier.
Yeah, don't quote me, but I think polymerizing is that the right term?
Polymerizing.
I think it is. Yeah. Anyway, so that's all the stuff. Like, so those serving trays and barbecue kits are all done. And then back on the walnut dining table. So that one, I've been prepping to do some epoxy pours for some of the cracks in knots because they're big enough that it's not something you want to do with just CA glue. Like it's too much volume. And
Are you
been
dyeing the epoxy black? Are you keeping it clear? What are you doing with that epoxy?
black.
Yeah.
Like 90% of
Walnut.
the time I go black.
I go black normally on like with epoxy, most things, but especially walnut because it's just it. I just made a serving tray, covered some knot holes with black epoxy. It's like you can't even tell they're knot holes. Like it kind of like really works well with the walnut, the black epoxy.
Yeah, and the coloring just looks good. Like even on like maple or cherry when they're lighter, it still looks good. Like the contrast, like it looks intentional as opposed to like a different way of trying to you know figure it out with like a traditional like wood filler, because like there's nothing wrong with wood filler. I just think black looks better and I think it cures harder and it's longer lasting. Yeah, because the wood filler is okay, but like generally over time you get cracks that reform because it pulls away or like the moisture is different or you know something happens with that. So I try and keep away from wood filler when I can, and I prefer the black Star Bond or black epoxy. So because a couple of things that I had to do for that is that there were a couple of bark inclusions on there that needed the bark to get pulled out, so it's like digging out that extra stuff because the bark is so much softer that if it was still there and the epoxy was kind of around it, it would just be a little bit softer, and some of that stuff tends to pull away. So if your epoxy didn't fill into like the right spots, you might get some release of that bark later on. So it's I mean, you can have bark on there still, it's just hard to make it last longer. So I just opt to remove the bark. So I really need the Jimmy DeResta ice pick, but I just used it's like some like Harbor Freight like little pick kit. I'm probably going to order a because I know some other people get those like dental tool kits for like scraping and pulling stuff out because they're made for close up work.
Pete uses that from Peach's.
I think so. That sounds right.
That before.
Yeah. So this other stuff, like this little other pick thing, is like I think it was like for automotive stuff or something. So it's okay, but it's not like you don't hold it up close, so it's not as ergonomic as like the dental tools. But anyway, like I went through and kind of picked all of that stuff out, and then I also had a lot of fun with the if you've ever had the knots that like you basically cut along the knot and you get those like little ridges that go along where it's like filled over time that are just kind of like paper thin, like little crispy lines, and you just peel through that, and it feels so satisfying to pull through that and like knock all those down, if you know what I'm talking about. So it's
nice. That's cool.
And I also did a little bit of I'm doing because I've got a few of those nail holes in there as well that I'm also using just like one of those V carving carving tool chisels to kind of take a hole and make it into a just like a linear crack to make it look like it's was already there, as opposed to like just like a random drill hole where I had to take out some nails. So making stuff look more natural and effortless, which is sometimes a little bit challenging because taking off all of that extra stuff it's extra time, but then it looks like it's like machined off, but you want to make it look natural. So
You've
so
had
after
practice
that,
with that. You had to make a lot of live edges look natural, right? Didn't you put live edges on the serving trays?
yeah, I put in faux live edges on those
Yeah,
ones.
that's cool.
And if you're someone who woodworks, like you would be able to know, but for your average person, like you
Yeah, they're not
wouldn't
gonna
be able
know.
to really tell, because there were a
Yeah.
couple of them where I forgot, like the others, like one side looked better than the other, and it would be like the opposite way that you would have the live edge, because you get like the on the edges you'd have the grain, you know, going down as opposed to up. So I had a couple that were like that just because the top surface was better for the laser engraving. So it looked different on some, but like I said, for the average person, like they're just gonna think it looks cool as opposed to like super ultra realistic. And I went like I did go a little bit more curved on those live edges just because it's a little bit more consistent sanding wise, and the fewer like hard edges that you have, I feel as though it just kind of helps with the look and the feel of it. So anyway, that's all of the stuff that I have been working on here recently.
Fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it.
So, excuse me, Thomas, what's been not working in your shop recently?
Dude, everything's been working perfectly. Like I make no mistakes. It's like it's so easy. No, like every project is like so many mistakes. So like I am making a wall hanging small cabinet with 3 drawers right now. It's kind of the final project of the course where people get to practice the skills that they've learned with the power tools. And so the back of this cabinet is going to be a wall hanging small cabinet. I put the back in, but I made the back flush with the sides of it, okay? Because it's going to be flush on the wall. Hopefully I'm explaining this okay. But so the back, I didn't want you to see any screws or anything from the side. So I used pocket holes to secure the back of the cabinet to the sides of the cabinet. Well, because I figured that the pocket hole screws would be flush with the back, because the back is going to go on the wall. I need it to be flush on the wall. Well, if you've used pocket holes, sometimes when you're screwing in the pocket holes, they're not flush. They like stick out a little bit. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
You're talking the head of the screw?
Yeah, the head of the screw.
Yep.
They like stick out a little bit. They're not perfectly flush with the wood that you're screwing them into. So I screw in the pocket holes and I'm like, shoot, I should have known this, that they're not always. Sometimes they are, but a lot of times the head of the screw sticks out a little bit when you're using pocket hole screws. And so I was like, gosh darn it. So, and I'd used glue as well because I'm an overbuilder. So I'd use glue and pocket hole screws. And I was like, shoot, this is not going to be flush against the wall. So the glue had already set for maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So I actually had to use I had to take out all the screws, and then it was stuck in there, and I had to use a hammer to hit out the back of it. Luckily it came out. And then so I had to remake the back of the cabinet. And then what I did was I just recessed some screws, and I just put the screws straight through the back into the shelves of the cabinet. And I recessed them a little bit. So now the back can be flush against the wall. So that is something I messed up. The second thing with the same cabinet is I cut all the drawer pieces, and it's kind of a smaller cabinet. So the drawer faces are only like, the openings are about 7 inches wide by 4 1/4 inches tall. So the openings are pretty small. It's like a small cabinet. And I cut all the drawer pieces so that the drawer face, there would be a reveal of 1/8 of an inch on all sides. And I had cut all the pieces, and I was looking, and I was like, shoot, I think that's too big. Like, I think that's too wide. It's not like I put it up there. It looked fine. But again, I have this thing where I just can't put out a project people are going to pay for if it's not as good as I think it could be.
Mm-hmm.
So then I recut all the pieces. This is going to sound so stupid, but I recut all the pieces so that there would not be an 1/8 of an inch reveal. There'd be a 1/16 of an inch reveal.
That sounds
because
reasonable to me.
Because I thought it would look better, just like a little bit better, a little bit tighter. So anyway, so those are kind of things that I messed up. I just had to redo a few things with this cabinet. There's no drawer slides. The drawers are so small, and I didn't want this to be too big of a project. So I made the drawers. There's no slides. It's just the drawer, and it just goes in the opening with no slides. It's just, it kind of floats in there. But
You
yeah,
should have like a wood rail on the bottom there. It just kind of slides on.
It's just going to slide on the bottom of the cabinet. It's not even going to slide on.
Oh, gotcha.
It's just going to sit on the bottom of the opening. So there's only going to be a reveal on the left, right, and top. There's no reveal on the bottom because the drawer is just going to sit on the bottom. I mean, because it's a shop cabinet. So anyways, I recut those pieces so there'd be a 1/16 of an inch opening. And so that's really the main thing that I messed up and I had to redo. But as you know, everything in woodworking is pretty much everything's fixable. I say that woodworking is 90% building and the other half is fixing your mistakes. And, I poached that from Yogi Berra. You know, Yogi Berra has all those sayings that don't make sense. Mm-hmm. He said baseball's 90% mental, the other half is physical. But yeah, but I mean, most everything in woodworking is fixable. So it's just a matter of how easy the fix is going to be.
I always like to say woodworking is 50% fixing your mistakes.
Yes. No, it's a lot of that.
Yeah, once you see a few videos of how to fix some of those common things, like it eases you off the edge a little bit, where it's like, oh, if you like dent the edge of your wood, okay, you just take a little bit of water and a towel and you go over with the iron and it pops back out. Or like, oh, you took a chip out of this thing, dab some CA glue, put the chip back on, and you're good to go. So yeah, or you fill a hole or whatever.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, I mean, you can generally always fix it, but like the nice thing about wood, worst case scenario, you just like rebuild part of it. I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's just, it seems like but most of the time, you can fix the piece yourself, but that's it. That's what, pretty much every project I have something that I feel like I need to adjust, let's say, but yeah, it worked out okay. I'm almost done with the project. I cut all the new pieces. I just have to cut some rabbets and put the drawers together. And they should be good to go.
Cool.
Alex?
Yeah, so what I had that was, speaking of stuff that you can reverse, so on the very first handle that I was screwing in, as I had mentioned, like it's really tough to screw the hardware in. And so like you're accustomed to like the resistance, and so you're trying to like line up the logos on there. And because on this hardware it goes from screw thread to that like flat metal for, tongs or whatever, or the spatula, that will actually interface with the very end of the piece of wood. So if you're screwing it in hard in order to like get that extra quarter turn, it presses in there, it will crack the wood, and you hear the like crack in your hand. And it was the very first one, and I'm like, oh man. So fortunately, what you can do on that one is back it out to the the previous rotation where the actual logo lines up, and then just putting in the actual glue, like I had said before, with the Gorilla Glue on that cap, and it was good to go. Because when you back off, that crack basically closes up, and because it has that little like metal collar on there where the glue goes on, that's essentially gluing it in place. And so it pulls it back together, so it didn't really need anything to hold it together. So it was just like a super easy fix, but it's like it wasn't like that. It was that like upset, like gosh darn it side of like something screwed up, but it was less of like, oh, I have to get a new one of these, and it was more like, oh, now I gotta use time to fix it. It was like I just knew that it was going to be a little bit more time as opposed to like I have to remake this whole thing and get it laser engraved again. So fortunately, it was an easy fix.
Nice.
How about you, Mr. Duffy?
In my shop, no, actually, this week went really well. The only thing I quote unquote broke was my skin. I got more tattoos done. So I got the lower portion. I can't see my camera here. Yeah, so this whole new section is all new, along with the Sasquatch. It's all painful and bumpy and everything right now, but
the color.
Yeah, the guy I work with.
I love the color.
Yeah, the guy I work with he specializes in watercolor. So this was the final piece of the lower section. So I'm excited. Now I get to take a break. My wallet's excited because it's pretty expensive. So.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now it's back to another appendage, right? That's the next thing.
I think I'm taking a break for a little while. I am working on a table for him as my thank you gift and his tip, basically. So I'll be talking about that more soon. I've got a design going currently. So yeah, that's all I've been doing as far as breaking my shop.
Sweet.
What you
Sounds like a good
doing?
week for you.
Yeah, that was the wrong sound. Let's do the right sound.
Somebody's watching me. It's my anxiety.
All right. So this week on What You're Watching. So my first one is, let me just say this. I want to say thank you to all of the makers who are standing up and speaking up for their neighbors and not staying silent in these challenging times that we're in. I'm not going to get too political on it, but I will just say I appreciate all of you who have been standing up and saying things. I will say on the other side of that, I am very disappointed in the people who are going the other route of attacking those who are. So, for example, we all know Mark from Woodwind, who I work with regularly. He's one of my wood suppliers. He also creates amazing, funny, hilarious content, and he has never not been quiet about how liberal he is. And he made a post about anti-ice and so on, and he has had to remove his shop address from his Instagram. He has decided to take a step away from Instagram because he's been getting threats and just some nasty things. So I just want everybody to understand that we all need to support each other and be for each other as a community, and just not go that route. So so yeah, that was my first one.
Well, and as Mr. Rogers says, in times of trouble and strife, like look for the helpers, the people who are going out there and being kind and helping people. So that's great for everyone who is going out and helping people.
Use your ability if you can. I saw a great news article earlier, a couple of days ago, of in Minneapolis, a guy is a custom shirt designer. He does custom printing. He has decided to use his shop, allows anybody to bring in their own t-shirts and use his screen printing equipment to print shirts to help, the movement and everything going on. So, if you have the ability to help or use your creative knowledge to do so, that's great. So I appreciate all of them. Alex, why don't you follow up with that?
Yes. First one that I've got is Turning Tokyo. Wait, is it Tokyo? I think it is. Sorry, yes, sometimes you get the like a little bit of like switching letters around when typing super fast. So they did this really cool, it's really hard to describe because it's more of an art piece. But when on the reel that they had where I had seen it, it was kind of like slightly bowl shape on the part where it attaches to the lathe, but then the rest of it is just this like squiggly organic shape that I have no idea how they do that kind of stuff on the lathe. I didn't see it as part of that particular reel, but it looks like, I mean, you know, you see on the canvas bags like the thick handles on there, and sometimes when you like set them down, they're all kind of like folding over themselves. And it was just such a wonderful bunch of like twists and turns where it's just like my mind looking to like how difficult it was to make such an effortlessly looking like light shape. And the interesting thing was their name for this art piece was Anxiety, which when I read that, I was like, you know, if in Inside Out 2, you know, the anxiety, like the little like inner voice.
The orange one.
Yeah, so you've got that one when they like kind of took over in the story, and you had that like it was that little tree thing that like grew in their headquarters that was like the inner monologue. And so it kind of looked like that shape of like the squiggles and all of the stuff that the complex the gosh, my vocabulary is terrible. The complexity of like that self of what you are, I thought kind of tied well with that. That was my own interpretation of that. They didn't call that out specifically. It just made me think of that. So that is my first one.
That's cool. I like that. My first one, I've been following this guy for a while. He's in New York. Super impressive artist, wood artist. Happy Life Wood. Have you guys seen any of his stuff on Instagram?
That sounds really familiar.
You gotta follow him. Happy Life Wood. He makes a lot of, so what he does, he'll make things out of wood. His whole thing, no paints, no stain. He finds the color of wood that he needs. If he needs a blue color, he finds blue maho. If he wants red, he'll usually use Paduke. Yellow heart. And so he'll make things like he made a Babe Ruth Yankees jersey. And if you just glance at it, you think that it is a real jersey. He's got all the waves and it's hanging on a coat hanger and it's life size and it's like looks like a jersey. And recently he made his latest project was a Solomon shoe. It is the 20-year anniversary of the Solomon ACS Pro. And you look at it, it looks like it like literally looks like the shoe. It is very impressive. If you go to his site right now, you will think it is. Yeah, that is the Nike one. It's a different one. So it's not, if you go on his page, it's like the yellow and white.
These ones?
Not the newest one. Yeah, that one. Yeah,
those ones.
So he made these shoes out of, it's all wood. No paints, no stains. And he'll make other stuff, but this is his latest project. Happy Life Wood, these shoes. It's just like really cool. He does a lot of scroll saw work and then carving with a Dremel tool. And it's just really cool, the stuff he does. So Happy Life Wood, the Solomon shoe. Yeah,
those, all of those like wavy lines and organic shapes, especially with the jacket that's hanging on the wall.
Yeah, the hat jacket.
The amount of efforts that it takes to get those lines to just look like it's just falling naturally, like because it looks like, oh yeah, it just looks real, but you're just like, you know, when looking at it, like the painstaking amount of effort that it takes to make something look effortlessly real is just astronomical. So yeah, I have great respect for that level of detail, because it's like, oh yeah, you just make it like a shoe, and it's like, it's not. Easier said than done.
Yeah. It's impressive. So, are we back to Alex number one?
Yeah. Yes,
Mr. Duffy.
I'm number one. Anyways,
how dare first Jimmy with the present with the number one, and now this. You steal my.
The people know, Adams.
Yeah, you steal my reels that I'm gonna share all the time.
Okay, so my next one is so her username is _Maggie Joe. She is a outdoors woman and woodworker. Really does some cool projects. She's known right now for some of these really cool hat racks she makes. But while this past weekend was Snowmageddon on most of the East Coast, where she lives, she did just a simple reel of herself laying down in the snow and making ice cream in a bowl. And it was so funny because it's not her normal content, but it was really funny. And she kept going, my neighbors are staring at me. Oh, they must think I'm insane, because she sat there whisking for like 20 minutes to get it to firm up into ice cream. So like, just imagine seeing your neighbor out in their front lawn, laying down in the snow, whisking a bowl.
Well, in Canada, don't they do the like pouring maple syrup in lines and then just like rolling it up on a stick?
Yes, they do.
That's a thing that they'll do in the snow, and I'm like,
sounds like that.
Oh, that'd be a great time to do that.
But no, this was actually like.
Machine.
So I have a machine. I have an ice cream machine, and I love it. But
and it's like it takes a little while, right? I mean, I can't imagine how long it takes doing it by hand.
It took about 20 minutes for it to start like whip firming up, because remember, it's also a lot colder than the machine makes it. So, because it was like -4 or whatever.
Oh wow. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
But still, yeah. So it was great content. But her design stuff is very minimalistic and very beautiful. So check out her page anyway.
And I can sympathize with that because back in 4-H, when I was like in elementary school, there was one module that was like the coffee can ice cream. So back when you had the like metal coffee cans, you had like the big one. You would fill that with like partway with ice, and then you have like the slightly smaller like coffee can or other can that you would actually put the ingredients in. Then you'd set it in there and then fill in the ice. You put the caps on the ingredients, and then you'd put in the salt to help it make it super cold,
right?
Because it's releasing all that energy, and then you just roll it back and forth with a friend until it's done. So you just sit there just rolling it back and forth. So I can't imagine how tired her arms were, because I'm like, rolling it back and forth is like it was tiring, but like that's relatively low effort. And I just distinctly remember, because like when you put the cap on from the coffee can, like it's not like a super tight seal, so you like tape the edges on it so that it stays in there. And what had happened is part of the tape had come loose on our coffee can, so it was like whipping up, and it was like salt water, and I got salt water in my eye as we were rolling, and I was like, I had to keep rolling because we had to finish, so I'm like closed one eye like rolling as it's burning my eyeball. So
speaking of ice cream, Thomas, have you seen the wood turner who makes the wooden ice creams?
Yes, yeah. What's his name?
Justin Davis or Davies.
What's his handle? Justin the Woods or something?
No, it's just Justin Davies.
Justin.
Justin.
He's fantastic.
Justin the Trees.
Yeah, Justin the Trees. Yeah, no, he's great. Yeah, he makes the ice cream. Yeah.
So he's the reason why I got a ice cream machine, because I want to try that this spring, of trying some of the different woods and doing that. Gosh. So it just seems fun.
I know, it does seem fun. That's cool.
Anyways, Alex, number 2.
I hate you for doing that to me. Justin.rtc. So he made a side table, and they referred to it as the Sankofa table. And the interesting thing about this is that the legs on this are like, they formed copper. I don't know if he had like the base is like wood and then he wrapped it in copper, or if it's like hollow copper, but it's like the outside is copper, but it's also like it's been patinaed and it's given that weathering look. And then on the top of this side table, it's a maple top, and then they painted these like mirror images of roosters, I believe. And so it's kind of like, do you know the medieval painting style where it was kind of like the pastel colors, and that kind of it kind of reminded me of that artistic style, of like something that would look slightly like medieval style-esque. So it was just a very striking design for me that was very unique. So I thought it like, especially with the integration of the copper and giving it that patina, was really cool.
Nice. Thomas?
Oh, that's cool. Let's see. My next one I've been following. So Happy Life Wood is on Instagram. That's where he posts most of his stuff. He does have a YouTube channel, but predominantly on Instagram. This next guy, BM Sculptures, is on YouTube.
Blake, yeah.
He's fantastic, Blake.
Yep.
I mean, he makes these he's another artist, and he does woodworking, sculptures. But his latest project, his latest YouTube video, he does this every year for the past 10 years. He makes the mascot of the college football championship game. This year it wasn't, his latest video wasn't for the championship game. It was for the
is the one where they play the kids?
No.
Oh, that's my favorite. This is when that mascots play they're like grade school or like middle school kids. The best.
Awesome.
Go on.
He makes for the Cotton Bowl every year, which is a college football bowl game. The Cotton Bowl is sponsored by Goodyear Tires. So Goodyear Tires then hires Blake at BM Sculptures to make the mascots that are in that game out of car tires. So he made the mascots of Ohio State and University of Miami out of car tires that he paints. So he makes the sculpture out of fiberglass, kind of like the base, and then he uses some metal and stuff, but the base is out of kind of fiberglass, and then he wraps it with car tires that he cuts and then paints, and it looks exactly like the mascots of the two teams. And so that was his latest project, which is just really cool.
So wait, that's the Hurricanes mascot?
Yeah, the Hurricanes and the Buckeyes. But the mascots for those two teams, they're kind of like it's the Buckeye, but it's like a person with a Buckeye head for Ohio State. And then I want to say, it
looks like a bird for Miami.
Yeah, it's like some sort of bird, but it's like a kind of a human body with kind of a bird head. Yeah.
Huh. I thought they were just like the Hurricanes.
I know, but it's like they got to have a mask, like
make it the Tasmanian Devil. That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. But so that was his latest project. It's his latest video, and that was really cool. BM Sculptures on YouTube.
I just have a permanent bone to pick with Miami because of a national championship game that Nebraska lost in the 90s, because it was gonna be 4 years of national championships from 94, 95. Then the Huskers lost in 96 to Miami, and then we won again in 97, the national championship. So it's just like that permanent bone to pick, where it's just like you took away our streak of 4 national championships back when we were on the top of our game. But it was like, man, because it just hasn't been the same with our football program. It's just been slowly going downhill. But our basketball team has been doing really well lately, which is weird because we have never had like a successful basketball program. And now I just checked that we got our first loss from the season to Michigan by 3 points. And now I'm sad because I couldn't watch that game because it was like on the Peacock network, and I don't have that streaming service because we were ranked number 5 and they're ranked number 3. Yeah, it's really exciting because I personally I love basketball, so it's like I have a team to like root for in they'll definitely be in the tournament, so we'll see, because now they're 20-1 with that loss now. So
wow,
that makes me sad, but they're still doing good.
Wow, that's impressive.
All right, my next one is from Tiff over at Night Carver Designs.
Oh, wait a second. Did you skip me?
No, because after Thomas, it went to me, and then to you.
We're in the right order.
Okay, sorry. I just gotta look out for you because you steal mine all the time.
I know.
Just gotta make sure.
Sorry,
I was on my tangents with my Huskers.
Football. Yeah.
Well, not as much football as basketball. My wife knows more about football than I do.
Over at Night Carver Designs, she again, winter related again. She did ice carving for the very first time, something she has always wanted to do. And if you know Tiff's work, she does amazing power carving. And so she made this gorgeous penguin ice carving. And then her reel was about like a eulogy to it as it was like slowly melting. So it was, again, humorous content. And
she
then
should have played the Titanic music. As like Jack is falling into the water.
And then at the end, it basically melted so much that at the end it just looked like a bowling pin, and she ended up like breaking it in half by accident.
That's an interesting medium. I wonder. I guess you get used to it. Your sculpture, your beautiful sculpture, you work so hard on, just like not lasting.
Right. Yeah, this was her first time doing it, but I can't imagine. Yeah, the people who just do it so quickly. And it's interesting, like when I was at Workbench Con, 2 years ago, Carveco hired a company to use 3D or a CNC to carve out an ice sculpture of a big lion for their booth.
Well, that was the last year that would have been last year, I think.
It was the last one. That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
They've done it 2 years in a row. The lion was last year.
Oh, they did it 2 years in a row. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. The first year, I think it just said Carveco, and this year it was a big lion.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so that was my next one. Thomas. I don't know why I said Justin Thomas. Or no, Alex is next. I'm skipping Alex. See, you got me out of order, Alex, by calling me out. So I was just gonna skip you.
You're just smiting me at this. You have smoten me.
Smoten.
Smoten. The next one that I have is ktb.woodworking. So she made these really fun boxes. They kind of have like the slide tops on them, where they just slide in through a rabbet. And so she made 2 of them, I believe. So one was she referred to it as the cannibal rabbit that was it's like walking on its 2 back legs, and it's got the like stick hanging over the back, and it's got another rabbit that it's carrying, kind of like how like the hobos used to have the like generic like stick with a handkerchief full of their stuff. So it's like the same thing, like this rabbit has hunted another
this is cool.
rabbit.
That's awesome.
And then the other one that they did, it was a bird that has caught a frog in its mouth. I think it's a heron. My gosh, what is the study of birds? Is it ichthyology? Something like that. I'll just say my birding isn't super awesome, but I think it's a heron.
Ornithology?
Ornithology, that's the one. What did I say? Ichthyology? What is that? We'll have someone look that up. But anyway, but on that one, when you actually pull the slide of the top back on that one, the bottom of the box actually has a snail painted in there. So those were just really fun. And I just thought that, like, especially like, I never would have thought of like the cannibal rabbit, like grabbing another rabbit and throwing it on a stick on its back. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, those are cool.
I'm pulling up ichthyology right now.
It is you now.
A branch of zoology that deals with fish. So I was close on that one. It's the ornithology that eats the ichthyology. So I was tangentially correct.
No, that's important. That's like people are learning so much on this podcast, not just about woodworking.
And the aglet is the end of the shoelace, the little hard thing. Mm-hmm. That's a Phineas and Ferb fact for you right there.
And then I think the when you drill into wood and then you pull the drill bit out, and then there's some of the wood still on the drill bit, like on the things. Mm-hmm. That is called
and the twist.
What's that?
The twist of the drill bit.
Yeah, that is called swarf. Swarf.
I think I might have heard that. Either that, or I'm just thinking of the guy on Star Trek.
Yeah, that's Worf.
Star Trek name as well.
Worf shows how much I know. My dad was a Trekkie. I was not. But yeah, I could have swore I might have heard that somewhere. That was probably a Lost Art Press terminology term that they threw around there. It sounds like something that Christopher Schwartz would know.
Nice. My next one, this is the last one I have, is anyone better than DIY Huntress, Sam Ramundi at DIY Huntress. She's fantastic. She's on YouTube and Instagram. She's big on both. But her latest Instagram is a start to finish of her turning her van into basically a tiny home. The outside still looks like a van. I mean, there's solar panels on top, and there's some things, but it still pretty much looks like a van. And then inside, it's a tiny home. I mean,
or for her a regular size home.
What's that?
Or for her a regular size home, since she's like ultra short.
And it's just
big
really
personality in a small package.
I know she's been working. It's not like new that she started it, but it is her latest. One of her latest reels was her kind of putting all the footage together of start to finish, turning this van into a tiny home. And it is just really cool. The building and then sort of the reveal at the end. I mean, it just looks super nice. I mean, it's just like all in one. You can she is going to use it, I believe, to travel to her husband's cycling races because he's a professional cyclist. But it's just really cool. It's got everything: kitchen, bathroom, bed, shower. It was a really cool video.
Yeah, I mean, especially the fit and finish that you were saying, like, it's just so satisfying to see something so well done. I think I remember seeing some of the in progress pieces of that one as it was coming together, but like,
it's got to be like, you got to drive, like, it's got to stay together when you're driving. It's not like,
you've got vibrations to deal with, and like things coming apart that you've got to like screw down well, and not only like screw down well, but be able to resist that vibration, and if there's any like torsion or twist to the chassis at all, because like, believe it or not, like metal bends, even though if it's just a little bit, like that's still something that you got to account for. So that's cool. Awesome.
I didn't have any other ones.
Alex?
So Alex, you'd be the next one.
Okay. My last one that I have is from Boomerang_Designs. And they made this really awesome Intarsia fox. Just like Thomas was saying earlier, like I'm pretty sure it's all natural wood colors. And this fox is kind of like, it's mostly the head of the fox, but it's just like leaning over to like sniff this like, I think it's a flower if I remember correctly. So it's just one of those things where they really captured it's not just like a still photo of just like a fox sitting there. It's like it's doing something, like you can like feel the liveliness and the motion that goes with that portrait. So really great work. Hats off.
What's their handle? Because I couldn't find it when I did. How do you spell it?
Boomerang_Designs. I believe that's what it was. Did I do it right?
How do you? Yeah, I couldn't find it. I don't know if you just for people to look it up.
Did I do it? I'm pretty sure.
Boomerang, BOOMERANG. Is that?
There are 2 R's in this.
Oh,
Boomer and then Rang_Designs. I think that was there's the spelling.
There we go. Okay.
And they've got lots of other really cool Intarsia pieces that are on there. Because the other one, the other one that I really liked was this one's not quite as recent, but it's a fish that because I absolutely love it because it's like the fishing lure that is like right in front of the fish, and again they're capturing that liveliness to it.
Well, you're a big fly fisherman, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not good, but I like it. I enjoy doing it, but I don't get to do it super often. But yeah, I love fly fishing.
That's me with everything that I like doing. Yeah.
But yeah, it's also cool that they also have like the fishing line of that piece actually going around the border of it as well. So cool really cool stuff. Yeah, very talented.
Follower. That sounded weird. I'm gonna follow her on Instagram.
You're not just gonna watch from the bushes.
No. Isn't that such a weird thing? Like nowadays, like, oh, I'm going to follow this person. And it's like, if you said that like 20 years ago, I'd be like, I'm going to call the police.
Bro, they're going to get a restraining order on you.
Yeah.
And on that note,
that's impressive.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
All right. Well, tonight's main
God, I love
main
old school.
topic.
Especially when he did
that's-
like the Iron Cross for like, was it like 2 minutes straight or something?
That's
Vince
from
Vaughn.
Billy Madison, not
That's
old
Billy
school.
Madison.
Was that Billy Madison? Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was I thought it was from old school when they had the debate and they brought on the guy from like CNN's Crossfire or whatever.
No, this was,
That was a good
also a
one,
Yeah.
yeah. This wasn't Billy Madison, but this was the debate scene when he's trying to give his like his thesis of 6th grade or whatever. Yeah, and that was the guy's
Yeah.
response.
Hey, I was close. It was a debate. It was a movie from the, early.
Yeah.
Were they early 2000s? Were they both early 2000s? I think they were. Like same time frame, similar setup. So I'm not like that crazy.
Anywho, tonight's main topic is shop projects. From anything, all related things related to shop projects. Your favorite shop projects. Your shop, when to buy things off the shelf, when tools are needed, so on and so forth. We have, Thomas is the master, I will say, of shop projects because that's what your niche is. I guess let's go from there. Thomas, how did you get into doing shop projects consistently? You talked a little bit because you had a small space.
Yeah, I had a small space. I needed shop furniture to build other things. So that's what I built it for. Like that's what you have shop projects for, so they can help you build other things. But then that sort of became, as people started asking for plans, I started making more kind of designing more unique shop furniture that saved space. I really enjoyed the design process and enjoyed building it and enjoyed sort of helping other people save space. And so that has sort of become my niche, since that is what I have made my YouTube video about, made my business about, is selling shop furniture plans. And I sell plans for jigs and things, but it's mostly shop furniture. But yeah, it's one of those things that it's interesting because you need shop furniture to build other things. Like it's a very useful, practical thing. And I still use obviously my shop furniture, my miter saw station, my rotating tool cart for my planer and sander to make other things. But it is interesting that now predominantly what I do is make shop furniture. It's like that is what I'm making. but yeah, it's interesting what you like, sort of when, like even me, like I didn't want to, like when do you build your shop furniture? When you buy it? So I just didn't really feel like making a router station, like a router table. I just like didn't want to. It seemed like pretty complex. You got to put the router lift in there, the fence, the dust collection. I did not want to, it didn't interest me. So I bought the router table. Same with my lumber rack above me. It's a very simple, a lumber rack, like like a wall hanging lumber rack for longer boards. I just bought a Bora rack, which I like. Rockler has a rack, which I'm sure is good, but mine's Bora and it's solid. So I bought that. I didn't build that. I'm trying to think what else like a shelving unit. We have a shelving unit in our garage that I bought, kind of like one of those big. We have one from Home Depot, and then I think maybe one from Costco, maybe. But it's
Kind of like the generic like bent metal, or like the folded metal where it's got like the racks in between, and depending on how
it's like,
intense it is, it's like 200 pounds of shelf or whatever.
Yeah, this one we have is like, it's like 4-tiered shelving unit, black metal. Yeah, so that one, we bought. It just sort of depends on what you feel like building and what you feel like buying. I mean, workbenches is just, I think, so great to build. Miter saw station's great to build. It's sort of whatever you feel like building. I mean, really, but but I enjoy building the shop furniture, and I think a lot of people don't maybe enjoy the design and figuring things out as much as I do. And so if you just want to build it and get it done and don't want to have to like design it and figure out all the measurements, figure out how much lumber you need, make mistakes and fix those mistakes. That's where plans come in. But really, whether you build it or buy it, it's just sort of, what do you feel like building it? What do you feel like building? And what do you feel like, no, it doesn't interest me to build it. Then just buy it.
Yeah. Cause I know there have been people who have said this before, that like, sometimes it just kind of depends on what you want to spend your time on, because if you feel like buying some off the shelf equipment for your shop so then you can get to making your projects faster, great. But if for you the enjoyment is building some of those aspects of your shop up on your own, like sometimes that's part of the fun, because like sometimes you may not have customers right away, so you might have the time to actually build some of those things, or like you're mentioning earlier with a smaller space where it's like, well, there's nothing that like fits this that I'm actually looking for, so I need to build it. Because like one thing that I built for myself, because like I couldn't find anything, there wasn't like any generic furniture that worked for it, was my my jointer. So I've got a benchtop grizzly jointer. Even though it's a benchtop, it's like 12 inches wide, but I wanted it at a height that was comfortable for me. So I started off with actually putting it on like just like an old desk, because that's something that I would always get that was like super cheap. Is like there's always people giving away desks on Facebook Marketplace, because it's like it doesn't have to be like super dimensionally stable, but a generally flat surface and it can hold stuff up. Like that was also what my miter station for my Capex was like an old desk originally, because I'm like, well, I spent my budget on the Capex itself, so I'll just make the stand like old furniture. But back to the jointer, I made that because I don't generally build a whole lot of stuff out of plywood, but this was one of my few projects that I did because I needed to be a certain height to be comfortable for me. So it wasn't comfortable on the ground and the desk was too high. So I measured a height that worked about right for that one, so that it was less work for me. Because like if my hands were too high, I was like almost like pressing down on it and using all of my like shoulder muscles to hold it down as I was pressing it over, as opposed to just kind of like leaning into it and using the momentum and a little bit of your weight. So I made just like a basic stand where it was a piece of plywood that was about the footprint, put 2x4s around the edges, and then 4 essentially legs, I think, and then a piece of plywood on the bottom to connect all of those. And I can't remember, I think those are probably all pocket holes if I remember correctly, maybe, or either that or I just drilled straight through from the plywood through to the actual legs. And I had like for lack of a better term, like an apron around there to drill in as well, and maybe a couple of cross beams. And then I had there's wheels on there. It's the one that it's rolling wheels on one side and then 2 flip wheels on the other side. I think might have been, I don't know if it was Bora or Jet. I think it was Bora, but I also put a little foot pedal bar that connects both of those feet that flip down, so I can just do it in one motion instead of flipping each of them independently. I can do them both at the same time. So that was that's probably the like best shop project that I had, because it was a very specific need, but it didn't need to be pretty, but it needed to be like dimensionally solid and sturdy for the jointer, because that thing, like, it produces a lot of vibration, because I also like screwed down the base onto the plywood sheet for that. So that's probably the one that I don't know, like the most proud of, because I actually took like more than a minute to actually lay out the design and actually put it together. But like, I'm pretty fast and loose with designs because I've designed so many things over the year. Like if I just do a basic sketch, I kind of know what I'm doing. I don't need a whole lot of details, and then I'll just kind of wing it and put it together, and I'm good to go. So yeah,
that sounds like a perfect like solution. Sounds like a good
Yeah.
design. Quick, simple.
Yeah, it was quick, dirty, but overbuilt and solid. So it's like I've never had a complaint with it in terms of like it being too wobbly or not be able to use. I mean the only issue that I have had with it is that like normally I wheel it in and out because it's like goes like right next to my HVAC unit. Occasionally I need to shove it over um the other direction from the wheels so they're not like actual casters. So it's like a little bit of resistance. But when I move that direction, that's like the only thing I really need is to like access like changing the filter on my furnace. So like that's the only reason that I need it. And I rarely ever do that. So it's not like really that much of an annoyance at all. So
Yeah, and the great thing about like, I mean, woodworking in general is, and even it goes into shop furniture, is you can customize it to your needs. Like you just
right.
build, like it's sometimes it's hard to buy furniture, shop furniture, or regular furniture that's like exactly what you want, and that's like the best part I found about being a woodworker is like, oh, you can make it exactly what you want, and with shop furniture, I found it's like so good for practicing your woodworking skills. It's like, it doesn't matter if it's not like perfect or you mess up here, a little bit there. It's like, it's going to be in your workshop. Yeah, you want it. Like I want my shop furniture to look kind of nice, but if it's not perfect or if I mess up, I think it's just a great like practice area for your woodworking skills. And then it can help you improve. And then when you make, that nice, TV console table or, built in your house, you have a little bit more experience.
Right. Yeah. And I know another, like, because sometimes you can just be like modifying an existing thing because, so the funny thing is the workbench that I have, it actually came with the house and it is the like crappiest, most terrible workbench you could possibly have, but it works okay for what I need it to do. Cause it's like, you have everyone who has the like,
the Rubo.
God, what's the split Rubo workbenches? You've got the thick like 6x6s for the legs, and they don't move, and they're rigid. And I've got this piece of crap. It's like 1x4 material that they made it out of, so it's like super light. Like the legs aren't even like solid on it. They've got a couple of like cross braces, but the thing was like super wobbly, and the top was super thin. And it had like random spots where there are like nails, and there's like this weird ass drawer that's in there that I took out. But what I did was I added a shelf on the bottom, more so to add rigidity to the legs and a little bit of weight, as well as a little bit of storage. And then what I did for the top, so that I could use, hold fast and other things that utilize like the 3/4 inch dog holes. I just took 2x12s and just layered them on top of there, and then literally just screwed them into the existing bench. And then I drilled my 3/4 holes in there for my dog holes. So then I had, because for a lot of those 3/4 inch dog holes, like it needs to be about a certain depth for most of those tools to work. So it has enough to grab, but not too much that like it can't slide through. And then I left like a generic little, channel in between for like pens and pencils and like chalk and stuff. And then a lot of times, like, because like the top is by no means flat. I mean, honestly, I've got a extension from the kitchen countertop that's like super flat if I need to like set something on there to like check flatness. But I do have an MFT table from Festool as well that's like super flat. It's like if I need like a true flat surface, I can use that. And then I'll just and sometimes what I'll do is I'll take it's like the lining from shop drawers or like super thin yoga mats, and I'll just drape those over the top of that if I'm like sanding like a big piece and I don't want to get like dents and scratches if it's like close to the final piece where it's like finish sanding. So I've got a little bit of those, because like I use the Rockler bench cookies a little bit, but sometimes they were a little bit like getting them all in the same spot, whereas just rolling down foam over the entirety of it, I can just put the whole piece on there and cover the whole surface and good to go, and I can take it off whenever. So it is probably the like saddest, terrible workbench, but I modded it close enough to what I needed that it works just fine for what I need. And probably the other shameful feature to it is that a lot of times when I was like sanding or whatever, I'd get like debris and sawdust falling through the dog holes. So what I did is I took some like butcher paper and I just like stapled it to the bottom, so then it just kind of like funnels out to the sides, so then it doesn't get on the stuff that's on the shelf. So the underside of this thing is just like butcher paper to let it siphon off. So it's just like the mother of, you know, necessity is the mother of innovation. Innovation being butcher paper and staples.
Yeah.
But it's like it works just fine. Like I don't need to spend a whole lot more time making a super nice bench. I mean, it would be nice to have one eventually, but it's good enough for what I need now. So
take a breath, Alex.
I know I talk too much. When I get going, is
yeah, you do.
No.
So I'm the opposite way. I usually just purchase what I need. I don't usually make things for my shop. I buy something that fixes it. And there's actually a guy locally who makes shop furniture and sells it for a really good price on Facebook Marketplace. And so
nice.
If I need a new bench or something, I just hire this guy to do it, because by the time it comes down to materials and my time of being down, like it just isn't worth my time anymore.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah. But if I was to make my own furniture, I hear you have a class that can help me learn that.
That's it. What a great segue. Yeah, no, yeah, enrollment will open for my how to use power tools class called my course called Master Your Power Tools. It'll open mid-February. But if you go to the website now, thomaswoodworkingacademy.com, you could sign up for the wait list, and then I email people exactly when enrollment's going to open, and it'll be open for 10 days, and then it'll be closed. But if people that are listening to the podcast, if they sign up for the class in mid-February, if they buy the course, then I'm going to give them 2 free woodworking plans as a bonus for listening to the podcast. And I can't discount the course because it's already as low as I can make it. It's just that people get so much in the course that I can't make the price any lower. But my plans are $19 each, so they can get 2 free plans. And so that'll be $38 that they don't have to spend on starting their workshop. So my course is on thomaswoodworkingacademy.com, and then my email, I'm sure will be in the show notes. But it's you go to that website, you'll find a contact page. There's a contact page up there. And then all my plans are on thomascustomwoodworks.com. And so they can choose 2 plans, shoot me an email, say, hey, I bought the course. And I'll say, great, which plans do you want? And then I'll send them the plans free of charge. All of my plans come with, it's all step-by-step, like written plans. Like I literally tell people where to put the screws. Like it is beginner friendly as it gets. So step-by-step with diagrams and measurements. And then each plan comes with an instructional video that's not just like a YouTube video, because those are kind of like short and punchy. These ones are like long, and like I go through every cut on my plans where it's like you're not missing anything for the customer, but it shows them exactly how it's built. It's like very detailed, the video, the instructional video, but it's also, I get a surprisingly low amount of questions, which is awesome because my plans are so detailed that rarely do I get any questions about like how part of the build is done. Cause I spend a lot of time like putting in all the details. But yeah, they can go to, thomaswoodworkingacademy.com to check out the Power Tools course.
Because how many hours of content is built into that course? Because you said
the course. Yeah, I did the math. It's 7 tools 4 lessons per tool. It ended up being, it's like 4.5 hours of content, of instruction. And then there's 2 projects associated with it, but 4.5 to 5 hours of instruction for with everything. And then there's a resources section of a bunch of written resources that I've put in as well. But yeah, I'd say about 4.5 to 5 hours of instruction. So it's all go at your own pace. It's not like you got to do this week 1, week 2. It's just sort of go at your own pace. But I split it up to be fairly digestible.
Gotcha.
Awesome.
And with you mentioning throwing in a couple of plans on there, what would you say is your favorite set of plans that you have made? It doesn't have to be like bestseller, or just one that you like, because like honestly, like in seeing like the flip up table, like I think that's a really cool project. I don't know if that's the one that's like your favorite or
that's the number 1 bestseller. It's like a Murphy, think of like a Murphy workbench. It like folds up into the wall. So that's a big space saver. But my one of my favorites is like one of my worst selling plans. It's like a double-sided cart. One side there's drawers, 3 drawers. The other side is open, so you can like grab things. Like it's just open, so there's like open shelving on the other side. But it does not sell well. And then my other favorite one that I just made, I'm giving it some time, but it's also like it is my new worst seller probably. It's like a small folding desk, which I really like. I call it the compact folding desk. So the double-sided cart and then the compact folding desk are 2 of my favorites, but they also are my worst sellers. But I think they're super cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That just sounds cool, because like I had mentioned before, like I would get like free desks or other like old furniture to like just for like storage and stuff, and that was always the crappy thing about like those desks, is it like they're big and bulky and they take up so much space, and they're very rigid, which I did eventually get rid of the desk holding up the Capex, and I got like a Wen miter station. Like it's not like a fancy one, but it's good enough that it's got like I can get around it, and it has some like in-feed supports that go like to the sides to support some of those longer cuts. So I do occasionally get pre-made or like off the shelf stuff for some of the things. It's the same thing for me for like my my planer, where I got like a Wen. It's like, I think it's technically like a miter saw stand or something, but it's just like this like square metal base, and then it's got some like outfeed rollers that add some extra long support that I love using it. I occasionally have to like, sometimes some stuff slips a little bit, so I gotta adjust those rollers, but generally speaking it works good enough for what I need. But and also you had mentioned the lumber racks. I do have a few of those the metal ones that you were talking about, but I do also have some lumber racks that I needed to build myself, because some of the slabs that I have are so wide that some of those racks, they didn't extend out as far as I needed them, because I think they go out like 8 or 10 inches? Something like that.
Mine is a little shorter. I kind of liked how short mine were, because it just didn't take up as much space. Mine extends out 13 inches. I want to say the Rocklers extend 15 or 16 inches, so they're a little longer. But that's kind of the standard, I would say, between 13 and 16. But I bet you can get longer. But yeah, that's the perfect case of you got to customize it to fit your needs.
Yeah, because I'll occasionally, like, it's not uncommon for me to get slabs that are like 20 some inches wide, so it becomes a little bit of a concern of like getting them all the way on there. So what I did, not like the best design, but because the joists are exposed in the basement, I basically took a 2x4 that basically goes all the way up to the joist, like end to end, matches up with the joist, and then I just took a smaller 2x4 to screw those together, and then I screwed on more 2x4s for each of the prongs that stick out, and then I put another 2x4 under those that was only like maybe a half length to kind of help it from twisting on itself under the weight. And so, because like the crappy thing about it is that with that other support piece underneath that keeps it from twisting is that it kind of takes away some of that space because you can't shove pieces in all the way up to the top. Plus the 2x4 is kind of like thick on that vertical dimension since it's that like 3.5 inch. But the upside is that I can get thicker material in, and I just keep on adding more onto the joist until I get the length that I need, which usually I'm getting, 8 to 10 foot boards is not uncommon for me to have. So that was another instance where I built it, but I'm using it a little bit less. So I'm probably going to take down one of the sets of these because I have them on each side of the wall, and I'm probably going to consolidate them all to one side of the wall. So all of my lumber storage is on one side. So then I've got a little more walking around room so that because I really haven't used my Festool MFT table as much as I probably should. So I need to utilize that a little bit more. So I have a little more workspace on that side of the basement. Cause I don't know if you recall, but I've got in my basement shop, I've got two sides of the basement. One's kind of like lumber storage and kind of breaking down some stuff. And then the other one's the main shop. And then I'm in my single car garage in here. That's like overflow for like assembly of like big projects and other things. Mm-hmm. So I have a lot of space, but it's dispersed everywhere. So I have to do small stuff to save space, but I have lots of spaces, lots of nooks and crannies. So
nice.
Alrighty.
Good news, everyone.
So we already talked about Thomas's class. Alex, you had just one quick thing to talk about on Mark the Wood Whisperer.
Yes. So he actually recently came out with these cork rubber adhesive backed that are made for the profile of like your typical parallel clamp, because he was like, I'm tired of denting my work pieces or having to put in like sacrificial pieces in between. And so he made it fit that exact footprint of the clamp face of the parallel clamp. So it's got that kind of U cut out shape, and it's not the like cork rubber that is like really super spongy. It is the stuff that's actually from Andy Klein over at Incline Design, I believe I think that's his website. So it's more rubbery than it is cork. So it's pretty thick and dense. So it's not going to just crumple under pressure super easy. So I'm super intrigued by them. I actually have Bessie clamps, parallel clamps, but they should fit because I think he made them to fit jet clamps. But one thing that I do is I use the little Bessie, they're like these little swivel attachments. So you take off the like little black liner that goes over the top of the clamp face, and you put that on for clamping like live edges and whatever. So what I might do is actually put it on that little black cap thing so that I can just take it off and put it on as I need it. So if I need to switch over to that swivel attachment, I can make that change. So I'm super intrigued by them. I think it's a super cool thing. So I think it's over at the Wood Whisperer website.
Yeah, if you don't have if your clamps don't have a soft surface, like if it's just metal, those would be fantastic.
Yeah,
or if they fall off all the time and you lose one.
What's that?
Right.
Like I have the clamp surface where it falls off, and I've lost a couple of them. So
gotcha.
It'd be a great replacement.
That's true.
Yeah, so I think it's one of those things where it's just like, why has no one thought of this sooner? Because I've done it many times where I've like thrown in some like I get a bunch of these laths from Menards that I use for like stacking and stickering wood, but I also use them to like put in between the surface of the clamp and the workpiece because they're usually a soft wood and they can absorb some of that pressure and take some of the denting and disperse some of that force across the workpiece. So I'm super excited for them. I also I think he should probably put some on for some of those a lot of those parallel clamps that have the little it's like that bow tie shape that you screw in from the sides. You got like the clamp portion, which is just fine, but those little, I've had those dent work pieces before, so that might be another shape that might actually work really well for that. I'll have to message him and see if he wants to do that too, or if that's just going to overwhelm him with extra stuff on top of all the other things that he's doing right now because he's a busy guy. But
so busy. He's got the sandpaper company. He's got the guild. Yeah,
he's got the backside sandpaper the guild.
Yeah, he's
got quite a few.
He's a busy guy. He's got his podcast. That little outfit.
That's sort of the newer. It's like a newer, really small woodworking podcast. Like
very very small. Yeah.
Yeah. Speak wood.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, Thomas. We really appreciate it.
For having me.
Yeah.
Blast. I really appreciate it.
So where can people find you again?
Let's see. YouTube, Thomas Custom Woodworks, Instagram and TikTok, thomas.customwoodworks. For plans, thomascustomwoodworks.com. For the course, thomaswoodworkingacademy.com. And that's all the places, I think. Yeah. I think that's it.
Perfect. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for listening. And remember,
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
good night, everybody.